something would have been impacted below the lunar module, especially because they're inside of a vacuum and the footprint is still there, especially because they're inside of the vacuum and the footprint is still up on the moon, apparently, because there's no wind or atmosphere, so it's still there. Then you would think that anywhere around where that fire was would have blown out a freaking crater big enough for us to see.
Exactly.
So the lack of crater, that's another one that's pretty convincing. Now here comes the juicy one. The big mama, big mambo in the jungle. Wieners. Stanley Kubrick's wiener. In this theory.
Do tell.
Okay. Now, our conspiracy theory on this one. Stanley Kubrick theory. But it's now the Stanley Kubrick theory because of the way I just said it, and I got made fun of by my girlfriend who has been sexually assaulting me for the last 7 months. But I like it. But this one I put in big bold letters. What does it say right there, babe?
It spells bullshit.
Yes, big bold capitalized letters on purpose. It says bullshit. Because I don't believe this for a fucking second. Now, this theory goes, director Stanley Kubrick was contacted by the U.S. government after he had made 2001 A Space Odyssey, which is a great movie. Even to this day, it holds up. It's a great movie. If you haven't checked it out, you need to check it out. But after this, apparently they contacted him immediately after this release in 1968, and they wanted him to help fake 3 moon landings, the first 3 moon landings. They were impressed by the amazing realism that was done in A Space Odyssey, and there's a lot of people out there that believe that the actual movie, the 2001 A Space Odyssey, was actually just a practice run for the moon landing. Which is interesting.
That is interesting.
The full theory, we don't have it all written down here, but I have watched Room 237, which is a whole documentary on this, and because I gave it a shot.
Yeah, I don't have that much time on my hands.
I gave it a shot. I stay up way late at night. I get like 4 hours of sleep because of me watching documentaries and whatnot, even before I do this podcast.
And I'm a crabby bitch if I don't get at least 6 hours of sleep, so it's not going to be me doing all that.
Fuck yeah, she is.
Thanks for the love and support, babe. I love you too.
I love you. The theory is that they concentrate on The Shining, a movie that came out in the 80s, I do believe.
We have it on our bookshelf.
I think it was in the 80s. I don't have the exact information
Google.
In front of me. But we don't need to Google it right now. We don't need the exact date. Everyone knows what The Shining is. It's got Jack Nicholson in it. And it's got the Here's Johnny. It's a great movie. It's got some creepy twins and stuff. There's clues in that movie that Stanley Kubrick apparently put in there to let everybody know that the moon landing was fake. Which I don't know why he would do that, but apparently he did. A lot of them are very, it's a stretch. It's
so
a
I'm going to have to
stretch.
rewatch this.
Rewatch what?
The Shining. I'm going to have to rewatch it.
Yeah.
Actually watch for it.
Okay, so the little boy that's playing in the hallway has an Apollo 11 sweatshirt on.
Okay.
He has an Apollo 11 sweatshirt on. And the carpet that he's standing on looks like a launch pad.
Oh my gosh.
And he's sitting down. It's almost like great symbolism because he's got a rocket on. The shirt has a rocket and it says Apollo 11. And he's like squatted down on the carpet. And then he stands up. And the rocket goes straight up with him. So basically that was them saying, that's Staniel. Basically that's them saying Stanley Kubrick already did something like that and now he's doing it again. The Shining was based on a true story loosely. But the actual hotel room, that was a Stephen King book, wasn't it?
Yes, it was.
Yeah, because it was actually Stephen King's experience at this hotel.
The Stanley Hotel?
Yeah, the one that's in Colorado, where they actually filmed it and everything. That place is haunted as fuck.
I'd love to go there.
That would be an awesome trip. If we ever did something like that, it'd be awesome to do a podcast there. She just gave me a look. A look that could kill.
No, I did not. That was a look of agreement, you turd.
All right.
Onward and upward.
There was more evidence in there. The room 237, apparently it's 237,000 miles to the moon. Right around that. That is incorrect.
Sounds like
It's something more like 300 and some thousand. Now, the movie claims that it's 237,000. The room number is 237. That's wrong. That's just plain wrong. And there's like loose references in the background, like Tang. They said Tang was in the background, so that was referring to the astronauts because they drank Tang.
The nasty orange Tang of our younger
Oh my god, I
years.
hated that shit.
Me too.
I'd much rather have Kool-Aid.
I'll
Was
take the
cheaper
orange
anyway.
Kool-Aid.
It was cheaper anyway. I don't understand. You ever have sugar water when you were a kid?
No.
I was poor.
Apparently. My parents loved me.
No.
Your parents gave you sugar water.
My parents. Yeah. No, they didn't give me sugar water. I remember going over to friends' houses, though, when we'd have sugar water. I don't know why, but
Who was supervising you guys?
not a whole lot of people.
Apparently.
So basically, that is the theory of Stanley Kubrick and his involvement. They think he directed the moon landing. He tried to come out with what he was holding inside in the movie The Shining. That's basically our last actual, theory.
I'm sure
That
there's
a
lots
lot
of
of
other
people.
ones out there.
Oh God, yeah. There's so many out there, but these are like the main ones, the main pieces of evidence and everything like that. Now we're gonna go over some of the conspiracy theorists next.
First one we have here is Marcus Allen, and he's
Not the football player.
I don't even know who the football player is, so
Legendary
irrelevant.
running back.
Okay, it's irrelevant to me. Anyway, he's a British publisher of Nexus, who said photographs of the lander would not prove that United States put the men on the moon, and, quote, getting to the moon really isn't much of a problem. The Russians did that already in 1959. The big problem is getting people there. And he suggested that NASA sent robot missions because of the radiation levels. The radiation levels would be too deadly for a person. NASA and its contractors did not recover quickly enough from the Apollo 1 fire. So he says that they recovered too fast after Apollo 1.
Which I completely agree. I think it was highly unlikely that they would have fixed all the problems in a year. Well, no.
It was like a year and a half, 2 years.
It was 2.5 years.
Something like that.
And in the grand scheme of things, that's really fucked up that they did it that fast. We talked about that earlier, though.
And then that early Apollo missions were faked, with Apollos 14 and 15 being their first real mission.
Love you.
New Year.
Happy New Year. Is it New Year? No, that ain't right. Holy shit! Happy New Year. I just got a New Year's kiss.
This is the first New Year's kiss I've had in years.
Really? Mm-hmm. Nice.
You got to be my first kiss for New Year's.
Yay!
All right. Next. No. On to David Groves, who worked for Quantech Image Processing. So now we're on to David Groves, who works for Quantech Image Processing. He examined the photo of Aldrin emerging from the lander and said that he can pinpoint when a spotlight was used. Using focal length of the camera's lens in an actual boot, he allegedly calculated, using ray tracing, that the spotlight is between 24 and 36 centimeters, that's 9.4 and 14.2 inches, to the right of the camera, and this matches with the sunlit part of Armstrong's spacesuit.
This is basically part of the theory with the crosshatches, which we'll go through, that there's stuff that's over the crosshatches, there's not supposed to be anything over the crosshatches. That means that something was doctored in the photo.
Next we have Philippe Leroux.
Felipe!
I think it's...
Oh, he's French.
Leroux.
Oh, oui.
Anyway, he's a French author from the Lumière sous la Lune.
Lumière sous la Lune.
Oh boy. An English language edition was published in 2003.
No, it wasn't.
Moon landings. Did NASA lie?
Yes.
He said that astronauts did land on the moon.
I really like this theory because basically what he is saying is that they didn't publish the real photos so that basically people wouldn't take these photos like the main media outlets and blow them up all over the place.
Okay, so I can see that.
They published the fake images so that other countries, mainly other countries, wouldn't come out and be like, yeah, these are photos of the moon and stuff like that, and benefit from that. I've never heard that theory before.
Yeah, I guess
it's kind of crazy.
I could get that now. I didn't think of that one before.
It's a very, realistic theory.
All right, next name I'm totally going to butcher, but I'm going to try my best. It's going to be Yuri Ignatievich.
Can I try?
Go for it.
Yuri Ignatievich Mocherd.
Oh, Lord. Okay, we'll just call him Yuri. He's a Russian opposition politician and author of the book Anti-Apollon Moonlight Scam, U.S., in which he denies all moon landing evidence and accuses the United States government of plundering the money paid by the American taxpayers for the moon program. He also claimed that the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union and some Soviet scientists helped NASA fake the landings. So I'll just take your money.
Yeah, I could totally see that too.
Me too. Now we have David S. Percy, and this person is a TV producer. He's a co-author, along with Mary Bennett, of Dark Moon, Apollo and the Whistleblowers, and the co-producer of What Happened on the Moon. He is the main proponent of the whistleblower accusation. The mistakes in the NASA photos are so obvious that they are evidence that insiders are trying to blow the whistle on the hoax by knowingly adding mistakes that they know will be seen. Most of his allegations on the photographic anomalies have been refuted by Doug Millard of the Science Museum in London.
One thing I have to say about these guys on these notes, beautiful notes that we have, these guys, with the exception of David Groves having the actual photographs as evidence, none of them have physical evidence. None of them really have any kind of evidence for any of their fucking claims. They are basically just speculating, which is the most you can do at certain points, but I want to throw that out there that a lot of the theories, most of them, do not have any physical evidence. There's a couple more guys here, though.
Yeah, there's at least two more, at least. Next one's another really Russian-sounding name. It's Stanislav Pokrovsky, Russian General Director of the Scientific Manufacturing Enterprise Project D, MSK, who calculated...
Give you a Project D.
Oh, my lord. No, I can't read this.
Plan D.
Oh, my God. So anyway, he calculated the real speed of the Saturn V rocket at SIC staging time was only half of what was claimed. His analysis appeared to assume that the solid rocket plumes from the fuselage and the retro rockets on the two stages came into an instant halt on the surrounding air so that they can be used to estimate the velocity of the rocket.
Right. So basically he was measuring how far it had gone in a certain amount of time to see exactly how fast it was going.
But yet he completely ignored the high altitude winds and the altitude staging.
Of course. Well, the air up there is 1/10,000th of the density of the air down at sea level. So you have to remember that. So it changes when it gets up there. That's why his calculations were kind of off.
And then he claimed that only a loop around the moon was really possible.
Yeah, he didn't think you could actually go and land on the moon because of all the trajectories and everything like that. Claimed that you could only loop around the moon because of just physics in general, which I can kind of see where he's coming from, but at the same time, saying it's impossible to land on another planet is completely fucking ignorant. Next guy.
All right, now we have Jay Widener, the author and interviewee about the moon conspiracy theory in the documentary film Room 237 from 2012. I guess this film repeatedly states that he does not necessarily doubt that America landed men on the moon, even though he thinks that it was a conspiracy with Stanley Kubrick to fake the lunar landing footage.
Yep, this is the theory we talked about before. This is the guy that was a proponent to this theory. He's the one that came out with the movie Room 237. Even in the movie title, it's got bullshit evidence. Because they said Room 237 was because it was 237,000 miles away from the moon where we're at. And that was bullshit.
Bullshit.
Fucking bullshit. All right.